All right, 5 p.m. Let's go ahead and call the first part of this meeting, which is a budget workshop to order. And we're going to just jump right into it. So, um,
Thank you. Well, this evening we are here with our budget workshop presentation because later on tonight's agenda, we are bringing it to the school board to approve the budget for the 25-26 school year. It is my pleasure this evening to have our Business and Fiscal Services Director Elijah Boyd to give you a walkthrough of the budget information. This budget information has also been posted on our website and is available for review. We will be sending a certified budget once the board has approved our 25-26 budget back to the ESD. They have also looked at many iterations of this budget and have moved it forward for your review. So Elijah.
Thank you. Members of the board, Superintendent Nichols, Assistant Superintendent Hudson. Thank you for taking the time to look into this. Budgeting is a very important process. I do also want to make sure, is my mic on? Good, you can hear me? Okay. So the budget is basically what we use to plan for the future. Most importantly is our 25-26 budget. There will also be a 3-year budget after this. So it'll be 26-27, 28-29, 26-27, 27-28, and then 28-29. That will also be included. You should have received, I think it's going to be a, Tracy, is it an E version of that budget that they're going to get?
It's available on the website.
Yes, yep, it'll be that one. And then there will be a summary of those next 3 budgets. So these budgets are legal documents. They are required by the state. They are legally required to be balanced. We have 5 funds. Those 5 funds are going to be general fund, capital projects, debt service, ASB, and the transportation vehicle fund. This funding comes from, oh, thank you. Yeah, I should have handed her the remote, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this funding comes from several sources. It comes from state funding, local levies, federal funding, grants, and other local sources. Our primary driver of revenue is our enrollment. So our enrollment numbers are quite important, and a difference of even 10 students can drastically change the effects of our budget. Our staffing is our largest cost. Each year, about 80% of our general fund budget goes to staffing. And then budgets are public documents and are required to be adopted by August 31st. So we either need to come to an agreement at this, or we'll need to have a special meeting. We do accept community input during the budgeting process. To my knowledge, we have not received any. Okay, this is a picture of our current year cash balance projection. We are on track with our projection, right under 2.5 million. It can vary. Any questions about that? No. Okay. This is our projected enrollment. This has not changed from our June presentation, so we're still projecting 2,525 students across all of our educational offerings. We have noted very slight growth, which is on track for our projections.
how does the 25-25 again compare with last year? Is that more or less or flat?
It is slightly more, but essentially flat. Very, very slight growth.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about revenues. So these are state and local revenues. For our local levy, we're expecting 8,315,000. Local donations and grants, 535,000. Apportionment, 26 million. Special education, 995,000. And that's from general apportionment. There are 2 special education fundings we receive. Special purpose, state special purpose special education, 5,800,000. Learning assistance program in high poverty, 1.1 million. highly capable, 84,000. Transitional bilingual, 85,000. Other programs, 270,000. Child nutrition services, 179,000, and transportation, 1.6 million. The total local and state is 45 million. Federal revenues, IDEA B, 563,000, Title I, 877,000, ESEA, 160,000, Child Nutrition Services, 866,000, commodities, so that is food donations from various sources, 90,000, Medicaid, 110,000, vocational education, 58,000, Title VI, 18,000. Federal forest revenue, I will hop to this slide. We don't include federal forest revenue. It varies too much to budget, and it is a lower amount, so it is not impactful to our budget. So we do not include it. We also expect private foundations to be about 12,000 and contracts to be 300,000. Total revenue, 3,054,000.
And I'd like to just speak to the federal forest, even with our state timber dollars. I'm on the Revenue Advisory Committee, and there are so many sales right now that are being paused that for us to be projecting the amounts, it is not working to use the projected sales as any type of dependable document. So.
Yep. Another note to that. When we do receive federal forest revenue, in some cases, our other revenues are decreased as a result of that. So that's just something to note.
Back.
It's also
Yep.
true.
All right, so expenditures, salaries, 20.3 million for certificated salaries, classified salaries, 8.7 million, and benefits, 9.9 million, for a total of 39 million for our salaries. Supplies and materials, 2.69 million. Contracted services, 5.6 million. Travel, 117,000. Capital outlays, 139,000, for a total IMSOC number of 8.5 million. We have 1.9 million of capacity built into that for a 49.6 million total expenditure. We do have to do an IMSOC disclosure, which essentially says that we are spending more for our IMSOCs than we are receiving. We are spending 257,000 or more on IMSOCs than we are receiving. So we do pass that disclosure. Here is a full breakdown of revenues and expenditures. Revenues of 49.7 million, expenditures of 49.6 million, which leaves us a surplus of 120,000. Our projected ending fund balance is 2.6 million at 5.28%. After that, we'll move on to the ASB, beginning fund balance of 500,000, revenue of 1.2 million, expenditures of 1.19 million, ending fund balance of 512,000. Debt service fund, 1.1 million beginning, revenues of 5.1 million, expenditures of 2.2 million, with an ending fund balance of 4 million. So capital projects, we will see some movement this year. We are not expecting this all to be expended. We are planning for it and we are prepared for it if the occasion arises, but we are being prepared if we do have the need. We expect revenue from local tax of 1.5 million, non-tax of 949,000, other revenues of 5 million, expenditures for sites 2.9 million, building 37 million, equipment 1 million, and energy of 1.3 million. Now, we are not expecting to spend this. We are just preparing to spend it if we need to. The beginning fund balance for capital projects is approximately 50 million, revenues of 7.4, expenditures of 42 million, with an in balance of 15 million. Transportation vehicle fund, the beginning fund balance 2 million, revenues of 500,000, expenditures of 2.5 million, with an ending fund balance of 62,000. Thank you. Any questions?
I have questions about the capital, the debt service fund. Just because we've never had anything going on in that account during my time on the board. And so I'm just curious a little bit. So are the revenues, is that from the bond sale or? can you
So
just
these,
Describe this a little
yeah,
bit?
these revenues are going to be from tax payments, and they're going to
Okay.
be used to pay down.
To
those
pay
bonds.
down the
Yeah.
bond. Okay. We're gonna need a little maybe tutorial on this, because like I said, this is just new for all of us, I think.
Yeah, so we will, we'll
Be an
get,
excellent workshop,
Mhm.
board workshop to go over this.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can you go there? Can you go, I think it was a few slides back where you talked about the built-in capacity.
Yes.
We usually build in capacity both on the revenue side and the expense side just to account for um what
Grant.
grants or things that we don't. What are we building in on each side?
So the capacity, we don't have anything specific built into those. They're just sitting there as if we get
Yeah.
a revenue.
I was just thinking, what's the amount that we've
Oh, so on revenue, we have 1.5 million. On expenditure, we have 1.9 million.
okay. Any reason why those sometimes I've seen them the same, but why would we
We've
have
got
it
some
different?
unresolved expenditure items that we're not sure where they're gonna land, and so
Okay.
we've just kept those as capacity.
Okay. All right, makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions? No?
I want to add just a little to that. You know, the rationale for why we can do that with the capacity is because our fund balance right now is stable. And we know that we have flexibility if we needed to. So I don't think we intend at all that we would be reaching our capacity levels, but we're just being generous so we have room if we need it. Okay, I just want to talk a bit about the budget in general and priorities in the budget this year so that you have a good sense of that. Of course, we're prioritizing staffing as we always do. We have had to have some reductions over the last few years, and those reductions are allowing us to move into next year feeling as though our cash flow should be solid. We should be able to weather a situation if our enrollment comes in at target, or even if there might be a bit below. That's good news for us. We also are working very hard to generate enrollment. So right now we're really on it around kindergarten registration, encouraging folks, even if they believe that maybe their child wouldn't be ready, please bring them in for a screening so we can talk with you about that. And we'll keep that going. We're also trying to make our communication strong, build our website so families that might be school shopping can land at SWIM School District website and get as much information as possible and encourage that engagement. As far as capital projects go and us moving forward, we will start to see those expenses moving out. Once we have construction management confirmed and we start making those decisions, it's really exciting. And it will be a slower process on the front end years with more speed on the end when the construction literally begins. Our budget has professional development built into it because we know there are areas that we need to focus on for strategic plan around academic excellence. And we also have had teachers asking that we have training brought in, and Donna's department is working really hard on that in all different pathways. Also like to share that we're looking at our facilities maintenance budget and really determining where it is that we need to have additional resources just so we can care for the place. And so we've made as many purchases this year as we could, seeing that our fund balance seemed to be ending in a confident band. And that's exciting too. We're starting to see that traction. Other than that, I think steady as she goes is the term I would use. And I feel very proud of Sequim School District that we aren't seemingly headed in the direction that so many school districts have had to face of such severe reductions and not being able to meet the needs of basic programming. We're sitting strong there. Anything you want to add about budget?
I guess I would want to just forecast that we'll be reducing some of our staffing and categorical lap and title funding. Those amounts have very thankfully stayed pretty flat, but the cost of our staff has gone up. And so that will cause us to reduce some. So we do expect to make some cuts that we potentially absorb from people who have retired or what have you in these next few weeks. But the reason behind that is not less funds, it's just more expensive staff. So we will be fine. It will be a kind of, we'll move folks around, but we have a process for that where they'll have some choice in that. So
We did have to make a few updates to our 4-year projection summary. And the reason for that is that in the out years of 27, 28, 28, 29, we know that we will be incurring some staff costs if things continue to move along the same lines. And we wanted to be sure we were going in conservative and not over projecting our revenues, because we don't know what direction state funding will take. A state funding task force is being formed right now. And the good news is Sequim has been invited to be a seat at the table. That's very good news. And so we will be right in the thick of it. So we'll keep our eyes on that, but we thought for now it's best to be looking out 4 years and be cautious rather than too overly optimistic.
Can you share, I know portion of the budget is based on our approved enrichment levy, and we are gonna see that increase this year starting in April, right?
Yes.
So that's a portion of this budget. Can you just kind of refresh your memories as to what types of things that enrichment levy is gonna be used for, like not only ongoing expense, I know there's a slight increase, but could you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So in April, we will receive the first tax payments related to the newly approved levy. So we'd like to say thank you to everyone out there for that support. That funding is designed for enrichment on top of what the state actually apportions for. So programs that would be contained in the levy include athletics, extracurriculars, think about transportation expenses to events that we're taking students to. We also utilize the levy for any staffing that we do hire that is over the apportioned amount for staffing that we receive. And so we do have several staff members that are funded through the levy. We also have over expenditure of some type of, say, the MSOCs, the materials, the supplies, or operating costs. If we do go over the portion amount, we do cover that with levy. And oftentimes they're resources that people really would like to have. So that's good news. And I would also share that in the past, we have faced some special ed costs that have had to be covered by the levy. But this year, the state has moved forward to increase the level of special education funding. So those costs can be better covered. However, remember that our basic allocation was reduced by that same amount. So we might see some general funding positions of the past that need to move into the levy.
Yeah. Okay.
Overall, our levy does supply our students with some very rich experiences, so we appreciate that.
Our music, I was like, music is an area or program that I think a lot of folks don't realize isn't necessarily covered with like prototypical model funding, right? I think that's an important part of why we have that program in place, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to have music teachers.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions regarding budget?
The question I have is just in looking at the federal funding, is there any, I know it's been kind of a bumpy year for that, with various things coming out of Washington about funding for schools. And I was interested to know your take on how we need to be prepared for any future cuts, or what are you thinking about that?
Well, I'll have Assistant Superintendent Hudson speak to this as well, because she's been in several venues where this has been discussed. But I would say to you that we know very clearly that we need to be looking ahead and budgeting conservatively with these programs. There could be funding that is probably reduced about 20% is the anticipated amount, but the format in which it comes will also likely change. So the way we apply for grants and how we design projects may become more either targeted to certain things that we're asked to prioritize, or we may have a competitive grant situation as well. So our eyes are open about what that could be.
I think that is really pretty accurate. There was a lot of talk about our grants being cut. That has not happened. We're very well within. Some are slightly above, some are slightly below. So we also are forward looking and looking to try and remove some of our staffing out of our grants. Because as I just mentioned, staffing costs are going up and the grants are not going up, they're potentially going down. So we'll make some of those moves this year, again, into other programs, so we won't lose people. But we have to start moving our staffing out of federal and really state grant money as well, because those just continue to be flexible and they're not as consistent as we know our levy will be. So we're aware of it and looking forward to that and trying to make not better decisions, because our goal is to close gaps with students. And so we know the effective strategies we have for that, but we do have to start looking at different ways to do some of those things. The key thing this year will be trying to focus on tier 1 instruction, improving classroom initial instruction so that we need fewer interventions for students as we go. So you'll hear that several times this year, that the tier 1 instruction is going to be a focus for improvement. And part of that is because we know that tier 2 LAP and title funding is going to be less, potentially 20 to 25% less next year.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so, at the board meeting, once we start, we'll be considering this as an action item to approve, correct?
Yes, and there is a budget resolution, and so that will need to be the reviewed document, and then we can have discussion and move to have a motion if appropriate for approval.
Is, you mentioned the 4-year, as well as that, are there 2 separate approvals that need to take place, or just one approval?
It's all included on the one resolution.
Okay, all right, very well.
Mhm.
So, okay. And I noticed uploaded too, we have the full, whatever the
F-195.
F-195,
Yeah.
which is some good nighttime reading.
Yes.
Care to,
Page turner.
but I actually, there's aspects that I enjoy breezing. Enjoy, as I know, a ridiculous word for me to use, but there's just, it's interesting, the complexity that how funding comes in and how it's, we say the main driver is enrollment, which it is, but then the channels that it weaves through based on enrollment is, I don't know, if you're into that kind of thing, which clearly I'm the only one in the room that is, but it's interesting. So, yeah.
Well, in closing, I would like to thank our business office. So as you recall, Victoria Ballant has been an interim director for us for this past year. We're welcoming Elijah, of course, as a business manager. I'm not going to say welcoming anymore because he's been through the fire and he's got his first budget before us, but also Stephen McIntyre, who's been our contracted service accountant, who has some significant hours in this budget. So I thank the whole team and appreciate all the work of it. Thank you very much.
So I believe we're going to, we're gonna recess for, well, in this case, 5 minutes until we start the meeting, right?
Yes.
All right.